Unless if your goals are surface level enough, you will never achieve them until you align all four pillars of man towards your goals. The four pillars being habits, nutrition, mindset, and training. Now, before I go any further, someone who is watching this might be like, oh, well, I only want to focus on my studies. I only want to I only want to work and I only want to work in my business. I don't care about the rest that much. And the problem with that is if you only nurture and renovate the pillar of habits and mindsets and you leave out nutrition and training, the two pillars that you left out are going to inevitably start bleeding onto the pillars that you were nurturing. And because your foundation is so skewed, you will end up collapsing again. And 6 months along the line, you're going to look back and be like, dude, I'm not even in a better position. And I've been kind of trying this for 6 months because your foundation sucks. Your foundation is non-existent. The pillars that you're stacking your wins and little improvements based on are so weak that they end up collapsing after a certain time. And chaos comes along. And you're like, oh, this guy who achieved it, he's lucky and it's not meant for me. It's not meant for me, man. Not everybody can become an entrepreneur. Not everybody can achieve this. And that's when exactly your loser mindset is going to come to you because you haven't worked on the pillar that's regarding mindset and you think that your losses are correlated to your luck. Now, with that out of the way, the first pillar that you want to work on is mindset. Now, mindset, although all four pillars are the same size, and imagine them supporting the same weight technically, because they're distributed equally, the mindset pillar is the hardest pillar that supports the most weight. Because your mindset is going to be the thing that groups all the other three pillars. However, all four pillars must be existent equally. That doesn't give you a reason to only focus on mindset and you're like, I know nutrition's fine. Like I used to, I used to focus a lot on studies, getting my business, whatever. Like I used to try different business models from SMMA to dropshipping. And I was like, this is so embarrassing, but I used to make myself like oven pizza and stuff like that, like eat shitty food, like instant noodles. I didn't even know what was in them. Like God knows what kind of chemicals I consumed, right? But I was like, it's fine because it gets me through the day and I only need to study. But guess what? That ended up, the pillar of nutrition ended up bleeding onto me because I used to get brain fog and I couldn't focus as well. And I was like, dude, why does my body just not want to sit down? Why am I so sleepy after just waking up? And why did I get no quality sleep, right? It's because the pillar of nutrition was breaking down and rotting slowly, destroying my whole foundation. Now, second pillar that I want to talk about that I just mentioned now is nutrition, right? Nutrition is not only important for your physical performance in the gym and throughout life, because obviously the food you consume is not just going to be important for working out, it's also going to be important when you sit down and your brain, because the mental energy, the calories that you burn just thinking and using your brain and alone is a lot. Hundreds and hundreds of calories. I don't want to say throw an exact number out there because I don't fully remember, but that's not the only thing though. What's very important, that's at least as important of a reason to pursue nutrition, is your mental frequency. And you might be like, well, why is food necessarily important? Because I can be tired and still think, so it doesn't really, whatever. The way that it works for me and many, many people that are aware of this is you have to consume less carbs and sugar throughout the periods of your day where you're putting in your deep focus hours. I try to reach a carbs amount of 0 for breakfast and kind of increase it throughout the day. The amount of carbs that I consume throughout the day from breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of goes like this. Because carbs will lead to carb crashes and they're going to be the reason you feel so sloppy and you can't focus and you're looking at the screen but your mind is literally asleep. Although you just woke up, it's not necessarily because your brain sucks and it's because you've been scrolling TikTok the other day, which is also a reason, by the way. Scrolling, messing up your dopamine receptors. But for now, I want to focus on nutrition. Long story short, you have to consume less carbs, less sugar, And you might be like, well, what am I gonna eat if I'm not gonna have this croissant for my breakfast or whatever? Try to keep it to products like, for example, I make myself a milkshake every morning, right? Less carbs, almost no sugar. That's fine. It works great because that doesn't mess my brain up. My brain, I can still focus and I can still look at the screen and think at my peak. Now, as dinner comes, obviously dinner is going to be the meal with most carbs where you genuinely can have pasta or whatever you want. Obviously, that doesn't mean that, oh, you finished work so you can eat whatever shitty food you want. That's what I used to think, by the way. I was like, well, I work in the morning so I can eat whatever shit I want in the evening. However, that is not important. That is probably about equally important because you are going to end up going to bed and your body should be able to exert all its energy on repairing yourself while you're sleeping. It shouldn't be trying to digest down the shit food that you ate, the instant noodles that just won't digest in your body. It basically links down to quality sleep. If you eat too much shit right before you sleep, then your sleep quality is going to decrease. Now, that's going to lead to you waking up groggy. It's going to lead to you waking up like shit and you still can't focus. So it's a full circle, right? And you can't just prioritize one part of the circle and be like, you know what, here, I'll let the circle go, and then it never connects back. You have to give it all. Third pillar being training or habits. And by the way, this is not in the order that I'm prescribing it to isn't necessarily from importance. Training. You have to keep your body at check because what I do, I follow the quote that goes, you have to train your mind so that you don't attack yourself, and you have to train your body so that others don't attack you. It all connects together. You cannot be the fucking loser who knows about business, who knows about investing, who knows about this and whatever. However, he looks absolutely skinny. He's desperate for girls and he kind of is miserable. You know, you have to connect all four pillars, like I said. The point of this video should be, at the end of the video, you should be like, dude, I'm working right now, but afterwards, you know what? I'm not going to eat the shit food that I bought myself yesterday. Or you should be training, or you should be like, you know what? Training is not the only important thing. Afterwards, what also matters is my habits. Maybe after I have a hard workout, that doesn't entitle me to scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok for 5 hours. Because all these four pillars connect back together. Anyway, the pillar of training is very important because you create a contrast throughout your day. Everything in life depends on the contrast. Now, you have to be used to, that's the way you inflict pain upon yourself and get used to the pain and build up discipline, okay? That is how you can willingly force that pain upon yourself and grow that discipline, like I said. If you don't really care about your appearance, that's fine. That doesn't entitle you to be a fat fuck or whatever. You still have to train. You still have to put yourself through that. The fourth pillar is habits. Now, habits, and by the way, I'm thinking a lot as I'm talking, as you might see, because I'm basically building the ultimate system that I'm trying to accomplish, being my purpose, of writing down each of the pillar and making some type of network that you guys can later on look back on and understand what importance each pillar plays. Still something that I'm working on, but coming back to habits. Habits are very important because they establish your routine. You need a routine for everything. You need a routine because you cannot spend the mental energy every single day trying to decide what to do, and then when you fall off track, you're like, oh, that's fine because I can make up for it tomorrow. Habits. We are all creatures of habits, right? Those are the four habits. Those are the four pillars that are your foundations that you need to work on. Dude, this is probably my 9th video recording because I didn't want to miss out on anything, you know, but I've been recording for probably about a solid 50 minutes for this. Just to end up with a 10-minute video, right? It's funny. I encourage you guys to attack all and every single area of your life and question whatever you're doing. Question every question that you have. Why am I using this system? Why am I writing this? Why am I journaling this way? Why shouldn't I journal this way? Who brought me this idea? Who gave me this idea to journal that way? Or why did I build my routine like this? Maybe shorter blocks would be better, maybe longer blocks. Keep focusing on yourself and keep attacking all 4 pillars of man. You cannot isolate yourself and hope for success to come because you're kind of mastered your nutrition and you're eating healthy, but the rest of the time you mess up your dopamine receptors by scrolling, right? That doesn't really give you anything. So I encourage every single one of y'all to be self-accountable in every area of life. And till later, see you boys.